Hi, this is Aaliyah, author of Prep Ahead Meals from Scratch. I'm getting ready to make a really large batch of meatballs. In my cookbook, I share a recipe for how to batch cook meatballs in 3 pounds at one time. When you bake meatballs, it only takes 20 minutes and you don't have to turn them. You just put them in the oven and let them bake. I like to cover a pan with foil to make it easier to clean up afterwards, but if you don't want to, you can just lightly grease your pan so you don't have to worry about them sticking. The reason I cook meatballs 3 pounds at one time is because then I have 3 meals worth of meatballs in the time that it took to cook 1 pound. And then I can serve that first pound that night for dinner, and then I can freeze the other 2, and then I have 2 meals ready to go almost in the freezer. All I have to do is pull those meatballs out, thaw them, and then make a quick glaze and serve it over rice, and I'm ready to go. Now, to make my meatballs evenly sized, what I do is I use a cookie scoop and I just put it in there, and then all my meatballs are the same size, and that way they cook at the same time and cook evenly. And then I just put them on my cookie sheet once I've grabbed them and put them down just like I would cookies. Once I have all my meatballs made, then I will bake them at 400 degrees for 20 minutes or until they're cooked all the way through. "30 pounds of meatballs will fill up 2 large baking trays. You want to make sure your baking tray has raised edges. That way you don't have to worry about any of the fat rolling off while they're in the oven. Now, after I've placed them on, if you want to make them perfectly round, you can just grab them in your hand and make them nice and round. Otherwise, from the cookie scoop, they'll be a little bit flat on the bottom. And you can place them really close together on your baking sheet because your meatballs are not going to expand like cookies. In fact, they're actually going to shrink a little bit while they're cooking as the fat is released. So you can place them really close together, and 3 pounds of meatballs will fit on 2 large baking trays. I'm going to put these in the oven and bake them at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, and then they will be cooked all the way through and they'll be cooked evenly. The meatballs are done cooking, and so they've cooled off enough that I'm going to put them in plastic bags. I'm going to put 2 pounds into sealable plastic bags and put them in the freezer to use for future meals. While the meatballs were cooking, I made this Mongolian beef glaze, and I will be serving the Mongolian beef meatballs over some rice that I batch cooked and have reheated. So we're going to have a quick and easy dinner tonight, and I have 2 dinners worth of meatballs that I'm putting in the freezer. In my cookbook, Prep Ahead Meals from Scratch, in each of the chapters I share 4 to 6 different ways to cook the primary proteins: beef, chicken, pork, rice, and beans. And then after the batch cooking session, I share 20 recipes in each chapter so that you can quickly combine those batch cooked ingredients to make quick and easy dinners on busy weeknights, like Mongolian beef meatballs over batch cooked rice. You can find Prep Ahead Meals from Scratch wherever cookbooks are sold, and keep coming back to this YouTube channel where I'll be sharing batch cooking tips and meal prep tips.